The Unwelcome Present. The Tragic Death of Prince Dara Shikoh of the Mughal Empire by Niccolao Manucci. Before issuing the sentence of death against Prince Dara Shikoh, his younger brother Aurangzeb asked him if fortune had been as favorable to him as it had been adverse, and he had held him, Aurangzeb, a prisoner, what would he have done? Knowing that in no way, whatever, would Aurangzeb spare his life, and that the question was meant as mere scoffing, Dara replied boldly and resolutely, like a prince and high-hearted leader, that if such had been the case, the four principal gates of Delhi would have yielded the answer to his question, where would have been exposed the four quarters of his body. This answer was conveyed to Aurangzeb, who, furious at such contumacy and license of speech, sent out his sentence of death against the prince, his eldest brother. When he asked who would be so bold as to behead him, the cruel Chela, Nazar Beg, offered himself to do this barbarous harshness and exceedingly hazardous execution. Nazar Beg was one of King Shah Jahan's slaves, brought up by him from childhood. When Aurangzeb made his father a prisoner, all the slaves submitted to him. Nazar Beg had not forgotten how once Dara Shikoh had abused him for some careless insolence, and to get his revenge offered himself gladly. He took with him the official next in rank to him, one Maqbula, and 6 other men of the same persuasion. These all set out from the court. After this, to mislead the populace, Aurangzeb ordered out Seif Khan at the head of 4,000 horsemen and some camels laden with kitchen utensils and the other necessaries for a journey, it being announced that he was about to escort Dara Shikoh to the fortress of Gwalior. Those executioners of tyranny and barbarity arrived at the garden of Khigrabad at 7 o'clock at night. They entered the room where the afflicted prince was walking up and down. They laid hands upon him, and showing neither compassion nor respect, flung him to the ground and cut off his head. Leaving the body to welter in its blood, they carried the head with all haste to Aurangzeb's presence. It was then 8 o'clock at night, and he was in the garden of the palace. Such was the tragic and lamentable fate meted out to the unhappy Prince Dara, firstborn and heir to the Mughal Empire, loved and cherished by his father, Shah Jahan, and respected by the people. Neither his good qualities nor his rank sufficed to deliver him from the evil designs of Aurangzeb. When Aurangzeb learnt that the head of Dara had arrived, he ordered it to be brought to him in the garden on a dish, with the face cleaned of the blood on the surface and a turban on the head. He called for lights to be brought so that he might see the mark borne by the prince on his forehead, and might make sure that it was the head of Dara, and not that of another person. After he had satisfied himself, he told them to put it on the ground and gave it 3 thrusts in the face with the sword he carried by way of staff, saying, "Behold the face of a would-be king and emperor of all the Mughal realms. Take him out of my sai." He gave secret orders to place it in a box, to be sent by runners to the eunuch Atbar Khan, who had charged Shah Jahan's prison, with orders to deliver it to him when the aging emperor was seated at table. It was to be offered in his name as a present. This was planned by Aurangzeb with great glee, to avenge himself for the love lavished on Dara Shikoh and the little account made of himself. It was as if he said, "Now has your love come to an end. He that was despised is lord of the empire, and the favourite gone down into death." After the head had been sent off, Aurangzeb ordered the interment of Prince Dara's body in the sepulchre of the Emperor Humayun. On that night Roshan Ara Begum gave a great feast. On receipt of Aurangzeb's orders, Atbar Khan, to comply with them, waited until the hour when Shah Jahan had sat down to dinner. When he had begun to eat, Atbar Khan entered with the box and laid it before the unhappy father, saying, "King Aurangzeb, your son, sends this gift to your majesty, to let him see that he does not forget him." The old emperor said, "Blessed be Allah that my son still remembers me." The box having been placed upon the table, he ordered it with great eagerness to be opened. Suddenly, on withdrawing the lid, he discovered the face of Prince Dara. Horrified, he uttered one cry and fell on his hands and face upon the table, and striking against the golden vessels, broke some of his teeth and lay there apparently lifeless. Princess Jahanara and the other women present began to wail, beat their breasts, tear their hair, break their ornaments, and rend their garments. Then Akbar Khan removed the head. When Shah Jahan recovered consciousness, he began to pluck out his beard till it was all bleeding, and to beat his face, then dissolving into a flood of tears. At this time there came in various women and carried off Princess Jahanara, who had fainted and collapsed. They also removed the aged emperor. I leave out any consideration of the affliction of the father, who loved Dara so tenderly, and of Princess Jahanara, who thus saw the lifeless head of the brother she doted upon. For I profess only to write of outward events, and not to explain inner feelings.